I'm about to chat to Jo Tutchener Sharp, the amazing founder of Scamp and Dude. I not only want to cover what it's felt like as a newest shopkeeper shutting her shop, but I would also love to delve into doing good as a brand, what that has meant through these rocky times that she's living in. We had an amazing conversation probably about a year ago or so on Conversations of Inspiration, where we tackled subjects like copying and the high street mimicking your, beautiful products. But today I really want to concentrate on the wonderfulness that is Scamp and Dude and how much they are giving back every single day and what that has meant for her business. I know, as ever with Jo, it's going to be a wonderful conversation. Hi.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad that you're feeling better. Well, I just wanted to sort of ask you generally, before we get into business, how are you finding things in terms of, you've got two young kids, this whole thing of, and we'll talk about business in a moment, but just you personally, mentally, how you're finding this all.
I think the hardest thing for me is trying to homeschool. Homeschooling, I'm finding that really difficult. My boys are 5 and 8, so they both need so much attention.
Yeah.
And I think even if I wasn't working, I'd be finding that hard because juggling between the two, they both want me to sit with them and go through everything. And our school doesn't do a great deal of live lessons. There's only one live lesson a day. So they, and so
oh my goodness.
Yeah. And Sonny, I'll go out and I'll go, right, this is what you need to get on with. And I'll walk out and set something for Jude. And I'll think, I'll just check on Sonny, go in, and he's doing a headstand against the wall. And I'm like, why aren't you doing your maths? So I have to be on with them and on them both the whole time. And that's difficult. But then throw in trying to run a business at the same time. And I find it really stressful. I find it really stressful. And I keep trying to say
it's quite impossible, isn't it? What you're actually saying. Like if we just took this outside of now, and you and I were sitting, let's say, before our podcast, and you said, well, actually, Holly, I've got 2 young kids at home and I do a full-time job and do this. We wouldn't even set ourselves this expectation, would we?
Yeah. I'm wanting both of their work to be perfect, and I'm wanting them to do the best they can possibly do, when actually maybe they don't need to. Maybe if Sonny doesn't finish all his maths or doesn't finish his art, maybe it's not the end of the world, and actually my sanity is a little bit more important.
Yeah, and it was a post I did just recently where lovely Eleanor from Marby and Elm wrote it for me, and it was talking about from the teachers of the world almost to us parents to say, you leave that to me. When they get back, I'll get the kids back up running. You just keep hold of their sanity right now. What's important is we don't get back anxious, unhappy children.
Definitely.
So if you can do that bit, we'll do the catch-up bit. And that really spoke to me. And I think it probably spoke to every parent, whatever age your child was at.
And I think I've been thinking, well, I want to do some special things with them outside of the typical schoolwork and make this memorable for the right reasons. We slept out in the tent one night, and we've got a little camera in our bird box, and we've got blue tits who are nesting in it. And the boys have seen that happening and seen the eggs hatching, and that's like a lesson. And just in the garden, because we moved out of London in August, so now we're near Marlow in Cookham. And it's in the middle of the countryside. So they're having so many lessons when it comes to countryside. Like when we left the tent in the morning, Sonny, we nearly stepped over a hedgehog. Things like this, I think these are great experiences and lessons for the boys. They don't need to finish their maths.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. Now, going to you and your business, you closed your high street shop in Highgate. And as you know, I've had to close mine as well, and you'd only really, relatively, you were new to your shop, and I remember you opening it, and it was looking so beautiful, and you were a shopkeeper now, you had all of this. You shut the shop. Tell me about what that experience has been like, and anything that you've learned that you could share with anyone else that has a physical space.
Well, I think for us, the shop, we don't, like you said, we'd only been open for a year and a half, the shop itself. it was really sad when when we had to close it. It was really emotional. I know we messaged each other because you felt the same. And we've got such a brilliant fulfillment company that they have been really professional, keeping us posted with everything that's been going on, and saying they've got less staff, obviously, because they've got to have it staggered and make sure everyone's social distance, and like really big deep cleans every evening. And they've been so great. But luckily we've been able to keep it open, which means we've been able to keep the website open, because the thought of I'd have to pay all my staff's salaries each month but have nothing coming in was having me up in the night. But thank goodness we've been able to keep it open. And the fact that we sell stylish loungewear we've had really, really busy couple of months because everyone wants to be wearing loungewear. So, and I think also people want to shop with brands who stand for something. Yes. Back and are doing good, and so we've luckily had a good couple of months, thank goodness.
Let me, Jo, ask you a couple of questions. Firstly, I love your Insta feed. Your pictures always make me want to buy something without feeling salesy. What are your top tips for promoting your products on Instagram?
I always find on our Instagram that more natural pictures do better. They have much more interaction and much more, a lot more people seem to like more natural shots than our campaign images. Like we always think we must do a shoot so we can show all our new collection. But those more staged pictures never seem to get the same reaction as more natural ones, more kind of candid shots. So that's something I would say. I would say make sure you know exactly what you stand for and what your kind of image and your look is, and make sure everything fits with that. I think I've got to know my community quite well and understand who they are and what they want, and I try and give that to them.
A question for you. So the online side has stepped up for you, and I think a lot of people, I think this is the case, and if not, they've had to absolutely make it the case. It goes to show you, doesn't it, that high streets can't not have a second revenue coming in, and that really, you know, we spoke about potentially online, you know, is the future, and possibly we all talked about it in a bad way. You know, it was almost like, you know, we were leaving the high street and it was all about online. And I think when you say the word online, don't you think that everyone sort of compares it to Amazon? You know, it's this sort of, you know, online is a sort of less empathetic, less connected way of retailing. What's your sort of point of view on that? Because I think it's going to change really, where it's not, you know, online retail does not mean Amazon.
No, and I think from the moment we launched, it has been about online. I mean, we launched Into Liberty, but we launched online. I didn't even think about having a bricks and mortar at that point. And so online's always been our biggest stream and has been the biggest focus. But when you find these companies that don't have an online store, you just think, but how are you existing? Of course you've got to have an online store. And also I think the social media feeds like Instagram, which I think is the most important one in my view, they make online retail not faceless and cold like an Amazon. It gives it personality. Like with Scamp and Dude, for example, it's me on the Instagram, it's me answering all the comments, it's me answering all the DMs. It's personal. Like you can ask me anything, I'll get back. So you're not, what size do you think fits best with this? You know, it is personal. It's like being in a shop because you can ask me directly as if you are in a shop. So I think Instagram makes online less faceless, I suppose. So I think, I don't think online should have that kind of snobbery about it anymore. I think it's quite old fashioned. I think the big guys will be thinking that because they're threatened by it, I think.
I agree, and I think that there is this element where you know, anyone who's not online this period of time has forced them to go online. Do you know what I mean? Potentially the last of the people ever to not be online will be online, and maybe that will mean that it won't be this sort of separation between or that sort of that idea that going online somehow you know, hurts the craft, hurts the talent. I've got another question for you. Being stocked in Liberty is insane. Any tips on how to get in there? I mean, so many people I speak to, you know, it's like the Holy Grail, isn't it?
Yeah. I think, well, the way, I don't know if everyone knows how I got into Liberty to start with.
Yeah, tell the story.
So before I had launched Scamp and Dude, so I used to run a PR company, and I'd run this PR company. I'd worked in PR in the beauty industry for 20 years. So I've always been big on building a network, and I love people. I love meeting people, getting to know everybody. So I had a huge old network from 20 years in PR. And before I launched Scamp and Dude, I was going to launch a skincare company, and with a friend of mine who's a skincare blogger, and we started working on it, and whispers had just started to get out a little bit, and it had reached the skincare buyer from Liberty, and she DM'd me on Instagram and just said, Jo, I hear some whispers that you're launching something new. I'd love to hear about it. And I said to her, oh, actually, it's not skincare anymore. I've changed, and now it's fashion, predominantly kids fashion. And she sent a message back, well, as fate would have it, I'm now head of beauty kidswear. I didn't have any samples. I just had a presentation, a professional presentation, I'd like to think. And it showed all the designs. It told the story behind the brand. And I sat there and I told her what it was all about, showed her the designs, told her about the sleep buddies and how I was going to donate one to a child in need for every one sold, and the superpower button and giving kids powers and strength. And I could see her eyes welling up a bit, and she just said, I love it. I want it all. And I was like, oh my God.
I haven't made it yet.
No. And I say that to her, I went, okay, right, I'll quickly get to Portugal then and make it. And I walked out of there, I can never forget, walking out and starting to cry and getting down the steps and getting outside and calling my parents and just going, they want it, they want to take it. And it was like all that crap that I'd been through, and all that hard work afterwards to create Scamp and Dude was kind of okay. Everything was going to be okay. And it was the most amazing feeling. It was absolutely amazing. But how I would suggest going for it is, they do have those not open mic, but those days where you can go and present things to the buyers, and I think that's absolutely awesome. Or it's a product in there, like send it to the head office. Why not? But definitely go with a little subtle approach of sending something in, but being really but making it really, really stand out. Also, making sure this is the same with PR as well. I think whether it's social media and influencers or magazines and newspapers, it's absolutely knowing your audience and knowing, is that shop really? You might want to be in Liberty, but is your product really a Liberty product? Because there's some shops I love, but my product's not what they're gonna want. I always say the same with PR, and one good way people have set off and said to me, oh, I just want to see my products on. I want them to see me writing about me in Vogue, about my product in Vogue. And I always say, well, do this, write the article yourself and be really honest. Can you see that in there? Is there enough in there? Is there enough of a story? Or do you need to develop it a little bit more? And it's quite a good way of going, okay,
that's such a great tip. Sometimes I say to people, write your own press release in business. You know, so if you want to say, what am I going to build? Well, imagine what you would write as a press release. What is the most juicy, colourful element about your company? And if there's not much to write, you need to work on it. So you're saying the same thing. Write the article, and if it's not really going to be match fit for Vogue, don't go bother a knocking on their door and thinking it's them shutting the door on you. It actually just wasn't meant to be. A question for you. You've got this amazing initiative. I'd love you to talk about it. The NHS One For One campaign, where you're donating a sweatshirt to a doctor or nurse on the front line. I mean, Jo, you do these brilliant things. Tell us about that.
So that was when this all first started. We just wanted to do something because we were I think we were all overcome with, oh my God, this is all so terrifying. And those doctors and nurses, it just felt like they were being pushed out into the fire. And it's just this horrible, overwhelming feeling of those guys. This is something else. And so we decided to donate. We did it for 24 hours. I mean, we couldn't afford to do it continuously, but we did it for 24 hours, where for every sweatshirt sold, we donated one to a doctor or nurse at the front line. So we sold 440 sweatshirts over those 24 hours, so we could send 440 sweatshirts to two of the big London hospitals. We looked at the worst affected ones. And it was before, then lots of people started doing it, but it was before everyone was doing it. So these doctors were so grateful, and just to feel like someone knew what they were going through and was sending them some superpowers. So that was that was great. And I did have some people going, your business might be bust in a couple of months. We're about to go into a recession, and you're just giving away. And I did calculate and go, oh, that's £22,000 worth of stock. But then I thought, sod it, like what? You just got to do it sometimes. I don't do this business just to make loads of money. I do this business. The whole mission of this business to start with was to give back and to feel like I was doing something to help people, and that I could sleep easy going, I'm a good person. I'm giving back. I'm helping other people, and I'm making a difference. And that it's with things like that do.
Would you say that the fact that your business is anchored in a purpose and mission that's greater? I mean, I know the answer might be yes from you, but if you could delve more into it, do you know what I'm trying to say? Have you found that the soul of your business has really propelled your company maybe further than it should have gone if you didn't have that sort of compass?
It definitely is. And I think I hear stories of people when they're wearing Scamp and Dude, they see someone else wearing Scamp and Dude, they give each other a little knowing look, and often they'll give each other a nod and a little smile. And it's not just because they're wearing the same brand jumper, it's because they're kind of part of this club of being in this group that care and that like to help and like to do. It really is a community. Like, it's being part of something. And I think it's like recognizing that when they see each other wearing it. I'm the same. Like when I'm buying things now, I much prefer buying things from smaller brands where I know these people are putting their blood, sweat and tears into it and all their hearts going into it. Even more so if they're also helping other people along the way and doing something, giving back in some way. And I think that means more to us now than it used to, I think.
Yeah. And it's what I feel is the future. You know, people should feel confident about building that narrative into their business, because people are going to want to vote with their money. Tell me, before you go, what's probably the thing that you think that you're, as a businesswoman and a founder, what you think you're going to take out of this entire experience?
I think an appreciation of certain other people. I think when it comes to, I know this isn't businesswoman, but in my life, the biggest things I think everyone's going to have an appreciation for teachers. I mean, my parents were teachers. I was brought up in a house of teachers, so I always had a respect for teachers, saw how hard they worked, how much homework they had to do at school as well, and planning. But I think now people have a real appreciation once they realise they're doing it at home, how hard it is. And my team, I've got an awesome team. I'm very lucky to have, we're a tiny team, but an awesome team. So, and we've always worked remotely. That's another thing. So everyone, this new working from home thing, we've always done it. So I think flexible working is so important, because my team, my customer service manager is in Manchester. My marketing manager is in Wolverhampton. It doesn't matter where you are. You can get great people. This has always been my thoughts was, you live in London, you have these great jobs in London, then you want to move out, you want to start a family, you want to buy a house rather than a flat. You move out and you think your career's done. Who's going to employ me in Wolverhampton or Manchester? I want to work for a big company or a company I love. Whereas I've managed to get, like, my marketing manager's ex-Topshop marketing manager, but she moved to Wolverhampton, so she couldn't work for Topshop, so she can work for us. This is what
how brilliant.
Get these amazing people all around the country that aren't working for those big, huge brands because they're not living in London. Well, we'll have them.
Absolutely. Jo, I think, oh gosh, you and I could talk for ages on this. I think everything, as I said at the beginning of this interview, that I think everything is going to change. And I think you were just ahead of the curve. And you are just you're ahead of the curve on so many things that we've spoken about. A brand with purpose, the high street store, the way you look at it, your story, the way you employ people. And it's just always, always a pleasure. Bless you, Jo. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. See you soon.
Now, let's summarise what she has been saying, because what a wonderful woman she is. Try and make this time as special as possible for your children. I love the idea where I'm wearing this love thing, because this is what I felt about Jo. I loved how she, sleeps in tents with the kids. She's doing these special things for children so that they can remember this time beyond the bug. Know the rhythm and melody of your community. She knew that authentic pictures is right, and that is the best way of selling your product online. After all of this, people will be desperate to go back and interact with the local community, interact with the shops. And by the way, I really do feel this. I think there will be a sale on properties. Look around your local area. Is there a shop that you want to be stocked in, or a piece of PR that you want to get? Do what Jo said, which is write the article and see if Vogue was ever really going to feature you, and maybe pick the right magazines and write the article and see, actually, you know what, I really think this would be great. People want to support a brand that helps other people. Futurable, flexible working. You can have a remote team right now all around the country. She had people all over the country. It meant that actually that talented group that leaves London because they can't afford it, moves all over the country. That's where you can pick up talent, and we do not have to have everybody in one office. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Jo, again, and thank you to NatWest 3, Dell and Royal Mail for allowing these moments for this community to get together and have these wonderful conversations with brilliant, brilliant founders. Lots of love.